Welcome to Active Living at the Active Life. I'm Dan Wooten, your host for an informative 30-minute program featuring important information for adults over the age of 55 in LaGrange. The Active Life is a recreational campus designed for the independent older adult. We're located right off of Lafayette Parkway on Ragland Street. We have all types of programs for all types of people. These programs include fitness classes, dancing clubs, day trips, multi-day travel, nutritionally balanced meals, health education, computer training, social groups, music and entertainment, recreational tournaments, arts and crafts, games, and so much more. We like to say that at the Active Life, it is a place where friendships are always beginning and activities are never ending. Visit our website to find out more about these activities, theactivelife.org. Enjoy our photos from recent events on our new Facebook page. On today's program, we're going to focus in on health care for adults 55 plus in our community. The average older adult spends 2 to 3 hours each week receiving some type of medical care, not to mention all the time relating to transportation and picking up needed medications. We're going to look at the two primary sources of health care in LaGrange, West Georgia Health and Emory Clark-Holder Clinic. How are these organizations adapting to our aging population? What do they see as the greatest health concerns of older adults in West Georgia? Join us for this wonderful program. I'm here with Bob Stanley. He's the Executive Director of Emory Clark-Holder Clinic. He's held that position for 4 years. He has 20 years of experience in the area of finance and healthcare, and we're so glad to have him here in our community. Bob, tell us a little bit about your patients. What percentage of your patients are 55 and older, and have you noticed a change in that population or percentage of population of older adults receiving services at Emory Clark-Holder Clinic?
Dan, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting us out. It's lovely to be out here. You have a great center. I just absolutely love the name of the center, and the word active is so key in today's healthcare environment, and especially for older adults to become more active. And you know, contrast that with two words that are actually words that strike fear in the hearts of people, even young and old, when they're used together, nursing home. But those words separate and apart from one another are really good words in the healthcare field and in anybody's mind. Home is a great word. We all like to think about home. And nursing is a great word as well. But you guys do a wonderful job, and I don't want to take up all the time today talking about that, but we appreciate the opportunity to come out, be a part of your programs out here, to be able to offer services out here for your constituents and do health screenings. And now back to your question, we see about 55% to 60% of our patients would fall in an age category 55 and older. The unfortunate thing about healthcare is that our computer systems drive everything that we do and all the ways that we track and keep track of data. So typically, our computer systems track the patients age 65 and older, because the payment mechanisms that are set up in this country are driven to reimburse providers, both hospitals and physicians, for services that are delivered to that set of the population. Now, in LaGrange and Troup County market area, we track along pretty closely with the national statistics at 13%. So 13% of our population fall 65 years and older. The interesting thing about that, and maybe it's common sense, but 48% of the services that we deliver are delivered to that segment of the population. So it's obviously a factor that is driven by the aging of the population in this country. If you look back from 1900 to the year 2000, the life expectancy in this country changed dramatically. And what we're seeing is the consequence of that in not just single chronic illnesses, but multiple chronic illnesses in our patients, and we have to get prepared for that.
Well, let me follow up. You were talking about the aging population and the fact that that is taking place. Has Emory Clark Holder made any changes to better serve the older adult population, or are you planning to make changes that would be geared to improve services to adults 55 plus?
We have, but we haven't done enough, and we're working daily on making those changes. The things that we've done so far are relatively simple. It's to put a concierge at the front door to help people get in and out of their cars, to get to the right provider once they get into the building. We have an information desk at the front with an individual that greets the patients and is able to direct them to the right place within the clinic, because it's a large clinic that has its disadvantages. It also has some distinct advantages. And I think one of the things that is the most beneficial for patients, the older adult patients, is that they can come to a place like Emory Clark Holder Clinic and receive a variety of care, both primary care and specialty care. That philosophy goes back to the 1930s when Dr. Clark established Clark Holder Clinic along with Dr. James Holder. Dr. Clark had severe migraine problems, he had some heart ailments, and he went to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota to be treated. And when he got to the Mayo Clinic, he was really impressed with the quality of care that was able to be delivered by a multi-specialty set of providers all under one roof. So he came back to Georgia and established that here. So I think one of the big advantages we have is that especially the older population can come into the clinic, be seen by their primary care physician. If they have an issue, then we can get them to a specialist, whether it's a cardiologist or a general surgeon or a urologist, many times that same day. And they're not forced to wait on an appointment, go home. A lot of times the patient has a family member that has brought them to the clinic. Transportation has to be provided. You have to coordinate schedules, and as you know, navigating within the healthcare system is difficult enough.
Yes, yes. Now, Emory Clark Holder Clinic goes beyond just residents of LaGrange and Troup County, right? You probably have individuals from East Alabama and surrounding counties. Is it a more regional facility?
We do, and that has changed some over the years as providers have developed in these other areas around LaGrange. But we draw from primarily a 5-county area, with Troup County being the primary area. But we do draw from the Alabama counties of Randolph and Chambers, Harris County in Georgia, Meriwether, Coweta, and Heard as well. So we are the largest multi-specialty medical practice in West Georgia, and we've got a number of specialists that are able to take care of people right here at home, as opposed to sending them into a large metropolitan area for that level of care.
Now, being a part of Emory Healthcare, what advantages would that provide to your patients, that you're a part of a greater system other than just a local facility?
It's brought a number of positive things to this community. Number one is that we're able now to recruit physicians like interventional cardiologists and be able to have the resources to bring them into the market and see patients right here at home and do procedures that typically in the past it would be referred to a tertiary care facility. The hospital has worked with us tremendously on that. We went through a program called the Seaport Study a couple of years ago, where we were able to do interventional procedures in a hospital that doesn't have cardiac vascular surgery backup. What I mean by that is we can put stents in people's hearts that basically save their lives. And if we weren't able to do that and then do it in a timely manner, sometimes time is critical in getting them to a tertiary care facility like Atlanta or Columbus or somewhere else may be too late. So it's been a real advantage to be able to bring those physicians to the community. Emory has also allowed us to infuse millions of dollars of capital into new facilities, renovating our facilities, bringing in new technologies and new equipment that now we make available to our patients.
Excellent. In your 20 years of experience, and especially focusing on the last 4 years, what have you noticed to be the greatest health care needs of the older adult population? Or it may be something more specific to West Georgia. What concerns you the most about when it relates to health and medical care when we talk about individuals 55 plus?
Yeah, Dan, that's probably the million-dollar question we're all facing in this country right now, and I see this area in West Georgia and Troup counties in particular tracking right along with the national issues. We have as I said before, we have a typical percentage of patients that fall into this category, so we don't have an inordinately high or low number of patients, but that really is not the issue. The issue is a number of factors that are affecting how care is provided, how it's paid for. Access is probably a buzzword that you've heard in the news media lately, and it's been all over the press. You can encapsulate all the issues kind of around access, I believe, because it relates to not just can I get to the doctor I need to see when I need to see them, but can I afford to pay for that visit? And you know, how is my long-term care going to be handled? How can I afford the care? Not everybody in this country can afford the care that's going to be required as these baby boomers and this population in our country continues to grow. You know, in 1900, 4% of the population was over 65. By 2030, 25% of the population will be over 65, and 9 million people will be over 80. Couple that with multiple chronic medical issues that are in play, and it's a super stress on the healthcare system, and it's one we've got to get our arms around.
Wow. One more question, Bob, that I'd like to pose to you. We're concerned here at the Active Life with helping older adults improve their quality of life, remain independent and out of nursing care as long as possible, and live longer. The same things that you're about.
Right.
And how can we better work together in making that happen? I know that y'all have been so helpful to us with medical screenings, and talk to us a little bit about that. How can we best work together as two agencies, but also as a community to make sure this happens, that people are as healthy and as active as possible?
Dan, that's a great question, and I think it's one that is going to be critical as we move forward in solving this nation's healthcare crisis. I mean, this nation's healthcare is truly on life support right now. The financing issues are astronomical. We can't continue as a nation to spend the money that we spend on healthcare. It's between 17 and 18% of our gross domestic product right now. That's more than any developed nation in the world. We spend over $8,000 per person per year on healthcare, but yet we don't see the numbers come out of that in terms of life expectancy. Our life expectancy numbers are less than countries like Japan, who are spending $5,000 per capita per person per year less. So what do we do? And I think an organization like yours is critical. We as healthcare providers need to collaborate more with organizations like the Active Center. And we can do that in a number of ways. We already come here and provide screenings for a variety of different issues that affect the older adult population. I think we can go beyond that. We bring doctors here as well to do talks and to educate your constituents. But I believe we need to take the next step in this process and form a collaboration where we can provide education, a greater level of education about care in the long term and how to handle that care over the long term. As you know, the care for the older adult population is handled by a spouse or a family member or a non-paid caregiver in most cases. Most people are not able to afford long-term care. So if we can provide a forum where we can provide education to not just the patient, but also coach the families on how to help their older family member deal with some of the issues, whether it's getting on their medication properly or going to the doctor at the right time or knowing when to go to the doctor. All those kinds of issues, I think, are in play, and we should be able to work with not just this organization, but all the the community constituents that are really stakeholders in this process.
Wow. That sounds great. Well, Bob, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us, be a part of our show. We thank you and Emory Clark Holder Clinic for all you do to help our community remain healthy and well.
Thank you, Dan. It was great to be here.
Courtney Bartlett from West Georgia Health has joined us. She is a registered nurse focusing in the area of long-term care. She's a case manager. Courtney, we're glad to have you here today. Thank you for taking time to be here. First question to ask you, related to West Georgia Health. What percentage of your patients now at West Georgia Health fall into the category of 55 plus? And have you seen a change over the years?
For fiscal year 2012, 67% of the patients are 55 or older. There has been a slight increase in that number as well. So yes, we have seen a slight increase.
Oh, that's interesting. As you see the growing older adult population and the baby boomers retiring, and what changes is West Georgia Health making to adapt to the growing older adult population? Have you made changes already? Are you planning to make changes?
We are. Right now, in fact, we have an interdisciplinary team that meets Monday through Friday at 8:30. That team consists of social workers, utilization management, physicians, nurse managers, directors, people from long-term care, hospice, home care. We're all meeting there every morning and we're discussing the patients that are in the hospital and what's going to be their best discharge plan. We want it to be safe and we want them to be able to stay at home and not have to readmit back into the hospital. And so we have so many things that we can offer through the hospital. With West Georgia Home Care, if that's the discharge route that they want to go. We want to educate them on the things they need to know to keep themselves healthy at home. We also have long-term care, both facilities, Twin Fountains and Florence Hand Home. We also have Vernon Woods if the patient needs an assisted living type setting. And then we also have hospice too. So there's several different avenues that we can take our patients to get them the care that they need.
Wow. Now, in making adjustments to a healthcare system like West Georgia Health, how do consumer surveys play into that? And do you, as an organization, review those surveys and adapt? And do you get a better response from older adults in surveys? Or tell us a little bit about how you utilize the survey results.
In long-term care, we do not have surveys that are done. In the hospital, I know they do have surveys that are given to the patients. And based off that information, the managers are given the feedback and they act on it immediately. If they see there's a problem, they will do what they can to fix it, to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And we get so many positive things too, so many positive things just to let us know you're doing a great job, keep up the good work. As far as the age, that we see them from 18 to 90 doing the survey, so there's not really a specific, the older population does the surveys. We get them in all different age ranges.
Wow. Now let's focus in on long-term care. That's your specialty. You've been with West Georgia Health for 12 years.
12 years.
And you received your nursing degree from LaGrange College?
Actually from Southern Union.
Southern Union,
I'm a
okay.
Sense grad and received my RN degree there and went straight into long-term care at Twin Fountains Home and was a nurse on the floor, went to Assistant Director of Nursing at Twin Fountains and then Director of Twin Fountains, and now I'm doing case management for both facilities. Wow. Florence Hand Home and Twin Fountains.
Okay, so with your 12 years of experience in that area, tell us what does an older adult 55 plus need to know about long-term care and how they prepare for it, and what do you see out there that people need to know and yet they don't yet understand?
I deal with a lot of children of the patients that need to come into the nursing home, and I find that they have the most difficult time in letting mom or dad go into the nursing home. And I always let them know, I've been doing this for 12 years, and I know it's going to be hard on you, but it is the best thing that you can do for mom and dad. We need them to have all the care that they need. They're 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, nurse there. Medications will be given to them. They will be given the proper diet that they need. Interaction with other patients as well, other residents. We keep them busy all the time. It's not just a nursing home. It's not where you go to sit in a room. We keep them active. We also have at Florence Hand Home the transitional unit, and that is used for patients who are coming over for rehab, who are usually there for 30 days or less. And it is a specific unit. It is separate from the rest of the nursing home. So we have patients who come in from the hospital, from all different hospitals, from all different states, who have had a stroke, who fell and fractured their hip, who are in congestive heart failure, who need some rehab before they go home. And we offer specific rehab for physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, education on their diet, on their medications. They'll get this on this unit. And we need them to know that we are separate from the long-term side. Our goal is to get those patients strong, get them home.
Wow.
That's our
now,
goal.
Talking about getting them home, I know that West Georgia Health also provides services in home care.
That's
Tell us
correct.
a little bit about that.
They do have West Georgia Home Care, and a lot of times our patients are discharged from our transitional unit. It's time to go home, so they step down to home care at home. Physical therapy comes, occupational therapy comes, CNA comes, nurse, social worker, and they just follow up to make sure they're staying in the program, they're doing what they're supposed to do, taking their medication, following their diet, and so they can stay at home, because that's what they want. They want to stay in their home, so they're really good.
So you have is it a continuity of care?
Exactly. That's what we're building, is the continuity of care. When they're in the hospital and they see that they need either long-term or short-term care, they call me, we see that they're appropriate, and we get them in. From there, they're short-term, we want to get them home.
Wow.
We want to get them back to their prior level of function and get them back in the environment, back into the community, doing what they were doing before. That's our goal.
Excellent. Now, as a registered nurse, what do you believe are the most critical health care needs of our older adult population in the LaGrange, Troup County area?
Definitely diabetes. We're seeing a lot of patients with diabetes that are eventually in need of dialysis. We need these patients to take, good care of their blood sugar, to monitor their diet. Also with congestive heart failure. When the patients go home, we don't want them to overload on fluids. We don't want them to overload on sodium. We want you to take your medicine so you don't have to go back into the hospital. That's what we, COPD. There again, we want them, they can get pulmonary rehab, the COPD patients as well. So we can keep them out of the hospital. We want them to stay home and get, maintain independence, and that's mainly what I see. Diabetes, CHF, COPD.
Okay. Well, one thing I'd like to thank West Georgia Health for over the years, West Georgia Home Care comes and does a quarterly medical screening for us, and has for years, and we found tremendous results of early detection of various chronic diseases.
Yes.
Are there any other areas that you think that we can better work together as a community to help our citizens, especially our older adults, remain healthier and active and independent longer?
I would say definitely getting them in places like the senior center, getting them out and involved in the community.
Part of our purpose here at the Active Life is to keep our seniors independent and in their homes as long as possible. Excuse me. So the question that I have for you, Courtney, is being involved in long-term care, have there been some preventative measures that you think that could take an older adult in their home that could, at least slow down the progress of these chronic diseases that would cause them to have to go into a long-term care facility?
Like our patients who come to the rehab unit, for example. We get them in their 70s, 80s, even in their 90s. And say a patient comes in who's 90 years old and had a hip fracture. She fell at home. She was trying to live independently, doing what she needed to do on her own, and she fell and fractured her hip. So she comes to us and we teach her the proper way to walk, the proper equipment that you need in order to stay safe. As far as you know, bathroom management and showers, we want them to provide the safest equipment that they need so they don't have another fracture. And they're able to stay in the home. They come to us with congestive heart failure. We want them to know that take your medication every day. Do not load on fluids. Do not load up on sodium. Stay active. This is an exercise regimen that you can do. That's basically, you know, that's what we do.
Okay. Well, Courtney, I'm so thankful that you came to join us today. Thank you for spending time with us. We appreciate what you do for our community and all that West Georgia Health does to make our community a wonderful place to live. So thank you for being here with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope that the information that you heard today was both encouraging and helpful. We'll see you again soon.